All right, guys, welcome back. Package Market Report Saturday weekend edition. Let's do this. People are officially bringing new stuff to the bank. They're wrapping them up. They're cracking open the piggy banks. You know, they're doing whatever they can to get some cash scraped together for the holidays, and it starts right now. October is not too early. We're beginning to see some diversification in the coinage that makes its way through the banking system, usually around this time of year. So if you're looking to take advantage of coins that maybe have been off the market for a few years, you just never know what you're going to find in some of these hidden caches. So now's the time to strike. Go ahead and grab your bankrolls from the bank and get to hunting, because you can find some really cool stuff out there that you could either add to your collection or resell for some great holiday cash. Now is the time to strike. So in this edition of the Pocket Change Market Report, we're going to examine some of the more important coins that are being found out there in the wild today. We're going to assess value. How much have these things been selling for? We look about the last 24 to 48 hours of market activity on eBay, just to kind of get a little temperature check on some of the coins that we have seen coming out of the woodwork over the course of the last 5 years. And, just to show you, give a little insight as to what you should be targeting. And this will help you overall to just kind of plan and anticipate, maybe specific roles or boxes that you should be targeting at the local banks where you're at. So, like always, we focus on coins that are ungraded for this particular episode. Grading normally adds in this extra cost. That'll end up taking money out of your pocket. Why spend the $30 to $60 to grade a coin where it's still going to realize the same amount of money at the end of the day? All right, so keep that in mind. As far as original images goes, we are going to take a look at all of the original photos right directly from the seller's listings. We didn't juice or doctor any of these things to benefit, the overall look of the sale. So you're certainly going to get the best and worst photos to kind of gauge off of, and this will help you guys, kind of work your magic with your smartphones. A lot of the newer smartphones do a great job with its photography. And, they've certainly stepped up their game over the course of the last 10 years. All right, so take advantage of what your phone can do, and you will do a good job and sell these coins. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump right in. We have a fair amount of lots to talk about today. How about this 1986 Lincoln Memorial Cent? This is an off-center strike, call it 55% off-center. It does exhibit a full readable date, which is important for collectors. The market with these is that people that specialize in them collect these by date. So they're trying to assemble a full date run of off-center coins, cents, nickels, dimes, whatever your flavor is. Statehood quarters is another big one as well. So always keep an eye out for these. You might run across a few of them at coin shops, and if priced right, I found a number of these in bargain bins, over the last 12 months, and have bought those, subsequently turned around, flipped them, and made a good amount of money off these. So keep an eye out on it. This one right here shows the exposed zinc, usually with the broad strikes or off-center strikes where the thin copper layer plating will split very easily with these type of errors. So this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $17.38 to kind of kick things off on the PCMR. The next one that we have here, really cool, and this is a really nice prime example of a reverse strike through on this 1934 Lincoln wheat set. A very nice gem red specimen at that. This one, probably one of the bigger bargains of the day. Although this particular seller, usually gives good deals on his coins. So this one, you could see the strike through on the reverse. It could be like a detached lamination that had fallen on the die and subsequently struck this anomaly that you see here on the reverse. This one right here only managed to squeak out $16.38. Now, this seller does sell these by buy it now listings. This one probably offered a little bit cheaper than I would say comparable ones have sold in the marketplace. I probably would have went as high as $25 on a coin like this in its current condition. How much it's sold for today, probably more better suited for a coin with a fair amount of circulation wear. So make sure you price your coins accordingly, so that way you can maximize the profit and have a smile on your face when it's all done. All right, we do have some paper money here today. We have this older 1977 $20 bill. Actually, a really nice looking piece right here. And it looks almost uncirculated, if I had to guess. Now, I'm not going to say that you could undeniably find these on much newer notes, but it's also worth mentioning that this is something you could come across at a coin show or a shop for a reasonable price. But they always tend to sell better online. eBay has been one of the bigger marketplaces for errors of this type, which is a partial front-to-back wet ink transfer. So there was some residual ink on the impression cylinder that ended up getting transferred to the reverse of the note while they were printing also the reverse image of that sheet. This one right here is a partial, probably 55-60% of the reverse there with this wet ink transfer. And you're going to notice on these that the secondary transfer image is going to be mirrored, all right? And that's how you know that it is legit. There have been numerous attempts to see these replicated artificially as not in error, and oftentimes they forget to, mirror the image, which is really tough to do if you're trying to counterfeit this particular error. This one sold for $202.95. We have more of these here today, even a silver certificate. The older you go with this transfer, they're just way more valuable. But keep in mind that these are hotly pursued today in the secondary market, and they're a really easy sale, ungraded. You don't need to grade these, and even in a graded holder, they'll still sell for what this one did. Okay, well, this is a phenomenal error that exhibits also some post-mint damage. So let's talk a little bit about the error here first. So this is a Lincoln memorial set that had split in half after the strike at some point, okay? It could have been when it hit circulation or what have you. So the coin is literally half as thin as what it should be. But you'll also see that there was also like a counter punch on the reverse that transfers through to the front of the coin. That, by and large, could be the reason why that this particular planchet ended up splitting in half. When we look at it side by side here, you'll see a normal Lincoln cent at the bottom, and then the coin that was sold up top. You'll see that it is considerably thinner there. And I believe it weighed in at about 1.3 or 1.4 grams, so that's a little bit less than half the weight of a standard 3.1 Lincoln. This one right here is sold for $32.38. Yeah, it does have the damage, but it's a really good example of this anomaly that otherwise doesn't see too much extra inventory on good old eBay. So you kind of buy what you can get. And, this one ended up working for some collector out there. Candy half dollars. I mean, if you're just looking for silver and nothing else, you're really selling yourself short here, ladies and gents. 1982p. I was actually gifted one of these by a good friend, Bill, one of our regulars on the Whatnot seller stream. And it's in phenomenal shape like this one is here. So this is a well-known Cherry Picker's Guide variety. This is the missing FG initials reverse. The designer initial is for Frank Gasparo, and this one is also known as the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. just for reference sake. But you'll see that the FG initials, which are normally right in this spot right here, have been over abraded or over polished. Usually the over polishing also shows up on the tail feathers, the shield, and also that leg right there. This one doesn't show a whole lot of the abrasion on those areas, but no doubt about it, Frank's initials are completely missing from this one. Very well known, and they sell relatively well in grades above AU. This one sold for $36.85. And I'd be willing to bet, after seeing a few of these sales here recently on the no FG initials reverse Kennedys, that you'll not only be looking for silver, but you'll probably add this one to the list because they're quite common and they sell pretty well for how common they are. 1955D, one of my favorite dates for varieties. There's one really well-known doubled die obverse that's in the Cherry Picker's Guide for a Denver, and also a myriad types of repunched mid marks as well. So this one is actually in pretty decent shape. It looks to be about a high-end VF, low-end XF, like a 40, somewhere in that area. But this is a great-looking repunched mid-mark. You can see the secondary Denver mid-mark was punched south of the primary here. This one is also referred to as RPM number 2 in various files. So you can, at any point, you can go on Copper Coin's website, Variety Vista, doubleddie.com. Make sure you bookmark all of these sites on your phone. If you're going to do some hunting out there, they're a great resource. But yeah, one of the strongest repunch mid marks, and it looks like an earlier die state as well, because you can see that inner curl inside of the D mid mark. This one sold for $15.50. You'd be surprised how common this one is. So always look out for these RPMs. It doesn't matter what date they are. 1973D, I'm willing to bet this one snuck by many people who generally don't give a care about things that look quite minor like this. Candy half dollar, yet again, another one to look out for. This one has a nice thin cud right above the Y in Liberty that actually goes into the design. It's not just a rim cud, it's a full cud because it does go into that design space. This one right here is sold for $12.17 with 4 bids. Again, that's as good as one 90% half dollar. So always look out for this, and you could trade one for the other. It always works out. And a great variety here, and on all dates of 2015. This is one of the bigger doubled dies that you can find on the modern series of Shield Sense. This one is the WDDO number 6. It's a Wexler's file coin, and when we look up close at some of the diagnostics, there's a lot of doubling going on here. Not only in the motto, "In God We Trust," but Liberty as well. You can see some of the stretching and notching. But the date is the biggest component to this particular doubled die. I'm a firm believer that one day we are going to see this coin in the Cherry Picker's Guide because it is just that strong. The date really tells the whole story here. You can see the splits at every single one of the digits of that date. And this is a no-brainer. This one, no doubt about it, is one strong doubled die. This one is sold for $43.88. The coin is in pretty nice shape. And when they are in nice shape, they will generally command a lot more money than some of us realize. $43 is an incredible sale on this coin that otherwise would sneak by a lot of hands. Now, this is something that's not too new. We've seen a fair amount of broad strikes and off-center strikes for Lincoln Sense dated 1998 to 2001. All right, a lot of these were distributed in those mint-sewn bags, so even today you come across one, more than likely you're going to find one or the other. This one is off-center by about 20-25%. Good-looking coin. Quite common date for this type of error. This one sold for $25 with 9 bids. So quite a bit of interest here. Even though I've seen quite a few of these throughout 2023. This never ceases to amaze when it sells for this much. I've seen them sell for as low as $5. So take what you can out of it and run. They are still zinkins at the end of the day. All right, not the best picture. We cropped the photos, blew it up a little bit, so that way we had a nicer, somewhat presentable look to it. But this one right here is a 2004 Denver, Wisconsin statehood quarter. This is the high leaf variety. The seller did put a decent photo of what that high leaf engraved line looks like. This is not supposed to be here. So there's a low leaf and a high leaf. The high leaf is the more desirable and more valuable type out of the two. Usually these were distributed back in 2004 in the Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas region of the U.S. As a matter of fact, today you can roll hunt in any one of those 3 states and find one of these, probably with very little searching. This one right here is still a valuable coin. This one, not the greatest looking example either. Lots of circulation wear. Sold for $79.75 with 24 bids. So keep an eye out on the low and high leaf Wisconsins, and they all have Denver min marks, and you can cash in on these because people still want these. Here's another strong wet ink transfer. This time it's a back to front on this 1988 $1 bill. They didn't give us a full front picture. You can see it's cut off there on the left, which is unfortunate. You gotta make sure that whatever it is you're selling, take full pictures of the note, of the coin, of the packaging, whatever you're selling, just for accuracy's sakes, because there could be some damage there on the left-hand margin of the note that we don't know about. You know, maybe handwriting or something that's hidden there. And, you know, if you sell this on eBay and that buyer, that collector receives it, sees some sort of stuff that wasn't on their original photos, they could send it back. And if you had spent the money already, man, they're going to take it out of your bank account. It could be a real pain in the butt to resolve this. And not exactly a cheap note either. This one sold for $149.77 with 15 bids. They managed to put a full reverse picture on there. You know, it doesn't show any edge splits or anything like that, which is pretty good news, but we don't know if there's something superficial on the left side of that note, like handwriting or pencil marking or anything like that. Just make sure you do a complete job with the photography. Not the greatest looking pictures, but the seller had a pair of 2023 Lincoln Shield cents with the extra V marking right next to the Victor David Brenner's initials at the base of Lincoln's bust. You can see it very clearly on these close-ups. They see that's what gets me, is they knock it out of the park with the close-ups, but the actual regular full obverse and reverse photos they dive on. I don't know what that rhyme or reason is. I'm sure with pictures like this close-up here, they had to use a USB microscope or something like that. And then they try and use, you know, their iPhone or their Android to take a full obverse and reverse picture, and they just don't know how to navigate the focusing features of those phones. So this is kind of like one of those resulting byproducts of that. So the pair here sold for $110. No doubt the hottest coin of the year, and it should continue on with some pretty successful sales throughout December. So this is your easiest kind of like low-hanging fruit type of opportunity as of right now. There's still plenty of these out there to find, and if there's any coin that's in like mild BU condition and higher, you're prepared to make some money. Because these are still being purchased. People are grading them. It's just a hot time for that transition right now. So this one is quite stunning. We've talked about a number of wet ink transfers. We have yet again another one, this time on a silver certificate, a 35E. You don't see it on the front of the note, but it does show and illustrate some of the circulation wear. It's a quarter fold type thing here. You can see all the 3 folds there. When we look at the back, there you go. Very robust, early wet ink transfer. So this is probably one of the first notes printed with the deepest and darkest black inks from the front. And yeah, it's a partial as well, probably 40% on this one. Still, nonetheless, very tough to find on a silver certificate. They actually find these pretty quickly, and as a result, they yank them out of those packs during the quality control process. So this one right here sold for $317 with 46 bids. Another phenomenal find out there. If you find one of these at a coin shop for $100, man, I would jump on that all day long. You just don't see them that much on silver certificates like this. Another Kennedy, this is probably one of the best doubled dies as far as rarity and value goes. This is a 1977D. This one eludes a lot of people because they don't check for these. This is the FS101. A great looking doubled die, quite strong, especially on the 2 7s of the date. It's on Liberty as well. You can see the notching there on the bottom left, and then In God We Trust. You can see the doubling on the T, the R, the U. This is again very nice one, and a cherry picker's guide to boot. And a lot of people don't know that that's the case. I mean, take a look at the R as well of the designer initials there. Man, that is quite strong. So this right here is sold for $102.97. I mean, if that doesn't incentivize you to look for this coin, I don't know what will. It's incredibly desirable and quite scarce, too. We don't see a whole lot of these pop out of circulation, but when you do, they are breathtaking. Here's our next piece of currency. So we're going to kind of switch lanes here on this one. This is actually a misaligned second print on the front of the note. The second print is actually the base black design of the front of the note and not the overprint that has like the district seals and serial numbers. So you can see it looks like a miscut, but it's really not, because when you flip the note over on the reverse, you can see it's centered within BEP specs. All right, so there's no shenanigans going on the reverse. There was just a little bit of a sheet shift when they started applying the front print. So this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $85, which is really good. That's a fair amount for this one, considering that the shift is a little bit minor. And, you know, it's nothing too crazy. Nice little Lincoln cent here. This is an earlier copper dated one, pre-1982, but no readable date. That's not a cud. It's not raised. It's actually an indent. All right, so there were 2 planchets that were overlapping each other and struck out of collar. All right, so this and a second coin, you could have made them up perfectly. So there's a lock and key component here with these. So yeah, that's what an indent looks like. It looks to be 2 blank planchets and not 1 struck coin and a blank. You know, there could be a couple different variances of that. This one right here is sold for $25 with 6 bids. If it had a full readable date, it would probably sell for a little bit more than that. So something to keep in mind if you see this at a coin shop. Don't overpay for them. Oh, very nice. Double struck 1999 Lincoln Memorial cent. The secondary strike is approximately 85% off center there. It's a uniface, which means this one was probably struck overlapping a blank planchet, you know, kind of like the previous coin. This one also has a corresponding indent coin as well, somewhere out there. This one, double strikes, always very desirable and very attractive to look at. I'd probably prefer one that's a copper age type and not this more modern one. This one sold for $74.98. So again, we're seeing some pretty big prices, even on later dated double strikes. And I would say, bar none, one of the coolest coins I've seen here in recent memory, and I've seen a couple of these. This is a 2021. It's a Denver out of all types. Usually you see these on Phillies, but this one is the Washington crossing the Delaware. And boy, that strike is weak. So it struck through grease. There was a good healthy portion of grease on both the reverse and obverse dies. You know, part of the maintenance program of just making sure that the machinery works like a well-oiled machine. Sorry to sound redundant there, but you guys get the big picture. So even with all the pressure, it has to strike through this foreign substance on the dies that normally would not be there, causing some general weakness in the overall strike. So this coin here sold for $21.24. They do get crazier than this, and those I've seen sell for many multiple hundreds of dollars. So definitely look out for them. Wow, really wild centered broad strike here. 2000p Rosie. Again, struck out of collar. There must have been a malfunction for that to happen. It's probably about the size of a nickel. It's that huge. So this one right here is sold for $44.48. Well-centered broad strikes that are very large typically command 2x the market from one that is not as centered or large. So when you do find these, they are quite powerful. They're very magical looking. And one of the crazier errors out there for, somewhat affordable price. And one day I will find one of these. So we're all familiar with the infamous 37D three-legged buffalo, right? But did you guys know that there is a probably 5 times more scarce 3.5 leg on the 36 Denver Buffalo Nickels? It is quite a bit weaker. It's over abraded, no doubt about it. So it's been over polished. And this is the 3.5 leg here, folks. And this coin was raw, by the way, and it's still sold for $475.85. Put it in a slab, it'll probably come back like a VF25, which is nice, and that'll be a much easier sell in the future. And you could sell it at a large online auction house like Great Collections or Heritage. They will gladly take this consignment on this coin, just a really huge, very, very rare die variety on a date that not too many people really think about. Pretty cool little coin here. 1998D off-center struck. Very high condition, too. That's kind of like one of the big selling spots for this. $99.25. A tough date to find off-center struck, and I'm sure there's a date collector that was foaming at the mouth when they saw this and just scooped it up. It was a buy it now listing, and it was like one of the best grabs I've seen at that price level. 1972 Lincoln Memorial. Not the best looking piece here with some carbon spotting and corrosion. Poor little guy right here. Still a saver, though. It's a very well-known double to die for the date. This is the FS 108. Very strong doubling on Liberty and the motto, and then to some extent to the date there, as you can see. What else can we say about this date? This is one that should be looked at 100% of the time, even when it has condition issues like this one here. So I wasn't too surprised when this one sold for $24.39. Okay, again, some of that carbon spots and corrosion on the front of the coin kind of killed this one's thunder a little bit. Otherwise, it'd be a $50 bill all day long. So here's our other lot of the 2023 Shield Extra V coins. This is just for one singular coin, and there you go. That's what this one looks like. It's got a few little scratches. Not the most perfect example, but in this case, people are buying all of them. They're priced accordingly. And again, in case you need that close up, that's what it looks like there. So this one sold for $52.11 with 21 bids. Again, that's like an average price for these. They got down to as low as $30 for a really nice, brilliant example. And, these have been kind of trending up over the last 60 days. Ever since the announcement that PCGS was grading these, people are taking advantage of that. So that way they can make their free, easy tendies just in time for the holidays. All right, this is actually a dual error. I'm really happy to see this one. Not one that you see too often. 1955 Lincoln Wheat Cent has a straight clip and was struck on a tapered planchet as well. All right, so really cool. Tapered is, it's rolled thin toward one edge, and it just so happens to be that edge with the clip there. This one, folks, sold for $31. So nice little duet. type error equals some pretty big money on eBay. So well done there to the seller, and a great piece for the buyer too. And this is one that I'm willing to bet 95% of you don't know exists or refuse to look for, because everybody's looking for the big 2009 Denver DDR on the Washington D.C. quarter. But did you know that Philadelphia had a couple really nice DDRs as well? This is the FS802 DDR. This one has the doubled piano keys right near Duke Ellington's elbow. So the first 2 or 3 piano keys, you can see the doubling. No doubling off of Ellington's name there, unlike the FS801 2009 Denver, which we all still look for. So this one right here, really nice grade condition coin, sold for $104.90. So quite nice. And you should be looking at all of your Philadelphia DCs now for this. And then finally, probably one of the neatest die clashes I've seen in a while on this 1989 Lincoln Memorial set. Not only is it a clash, but it's like a slight shift clash. It's not usually that far off to the left for the memorial building on that obverse die there. And then you see a little bit of clashing also on the reverse as well. You can see it in the memorial bays right there, and a little bit underneath as well. Not as strong, but yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with that obverse there. And the coin's in great shape too, which works out favorably for the seller, who ended up blowing this one out of the water at $105.25. You know, the argument is it worth it? I'm going to say yeah, you know, because fully featured die clashes like this one generally command top of the market. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up. Keep in mind the video is for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. You make and do what you want out of this information. Please do collect responsibly and grade responsibly too, if you're going to do that. And again, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video gave some pretty top-notch inspiration to go out there, run to your banks before they close for the weekend, and grab a few rolls. Even if it's just like 2 or 3 rolls, it'll give you some time to enjoy some treasure hunting. And you never know. All you need is one lottery ticket to win the big Powerball, right? That's what we've all heard. And someone hit a ginormous Powerball here recently in California. It wasn't me. I'm in California. It was certainly not me. If it was me, I probably wouldn't be doing these videos any longer. But I kid. I love the hobby way too much to quit, regardless of how much money I have. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my content, the video. Come follow me also on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram if you got some time. We do a lot of short type videos there as well. But I leave you with this. I wish you guys the best of luck. Happy hunting. And I will see you guys on the next coin video. Get to work, people.